Welcome to the Art of Classiness podcast, a show where we redefine what it means to be a classy lady. And sometimes it's messy. I'm Robin.
And I'm Deborah, two friends turned classy ladies who are here to discuss life's ups and downs, navigating the complexities of adulthood, and how the gift of friendship is essential to belonging.
This season on Love is Blind, the women know exactly what they want, and they're not settling for less. With the oldest cast in the show's history, it feels like these 30-somethings are taking love seriously, and so should we.
We're diving into why more women are waiting until their 30s to get married, what this means for relationships, and whether age and a little life experience makes a difference when it comes to asking the ultimate question, is love really blind?
So follow along, give us your feedback, and don't forget to like and subscribe. What's up, classy ladies and gentlemen? Deborah, let's check in. How are you?
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Girl, I can't tell you how many times I have watched and rewatched that Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, dude, if I was not on a Bad Bunny kick before, I'm insufferable now. What a show. What a show, right?
Tell me more. Yeah. Well, okay. So I haven't rewatched it yet. We were at a Super Bowl party, and so people don't stop talking. You know, I didn't get to fully appreciate everything, but watching it was really cool. Like, I've never seen a Super Bowl show like that.
Mm-hmm. What I loved that you did do is you guys FaceTimed me right after.
Yes.
To get the down low.
Yes.
You guys FaceTimed me right after because you knew I'd have some thoughts and opinions. And I just thought it was so beautifully done. Man, the art direction was just perfect. There wasn't like a single mistake. I mean, here's the case for hiring diversity and inclusion. There were not enough Spanish-speaking censors in that room, let me tell you, because he definitely got away. He definitely got away with saying some things on air that, like, I cannot believe they let him say. But man, what a powerful performance. And beyond just watching the actual halftime show, which was like, I just thought so perfect. I have also loved watching reaction videos of people watching the halftime show.
Aww.
And just how meaningful it has been to so many Latinas. And the last thing he did was name every single country in Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people watching from these countries that like couldn't believe they were seeing their country's flag being flown on that football field. And it's just like representation is so important. And I think people were expecting it to be politically divisive. And instead, it was such a celebration of joy and unity, in my opinion. I loved it. Yeah, so that's basically been on my mind 24/7. But what about you? What's going on in your world?
Well, this past weekend was Galentine's/Valentine's, and I told you about the wine night, which was super fun, and it was a craft night, so we made cards for our loved ones.
Cute.
Seth loved his.
Aw.
But the next day, our dear friend Jackie and I took a little road trip to Portland. And it was such a fun day. We went vintage thrift shopping.
Oh, fun.
And we went to this amazing, like so delicious Lebanese restaurant, and they had gluten-free pita bread. Dude, it was so good. And then we went to the 𝗵𝗵𝐵𝘀, which is the Oregon Museum of Science something, and went to this hour-long show where they played verses from Alan Watts' speeches. So he's a philosopher from the 20th century. I love like listening to his talks. He has a really calming voice. And they paired that with like kaleidoscope type designs and fractals and stars and universes. And you're sitting in a chair in a circular room staring at the ceiling, and it's a dome shape.
Oh.
It's very immersive. And it was an hour long, and you're just sitting there like staring at the ceiling and like, whoa, like all the bright colors and movement.
So cool.
Then we went back to our hotel room. I sent you a video. I sent the classy ladies a video. We had an ironing board set up as a table between our beds, just covered in all the snacks.
Yes.
I think we had like 20 different items.
Mm-hmm.
While we binged Love is Blind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is just the absolute perfect segue.
Yes.
Into our topic today.
Perfect. It's like you were working and playing at the same time.
Yes. I had already seen these episodes, actually, so it was great to rewatch, catch things I missed before. And, like, it's just so fun to watch it with a friend because you get to make jokes and critique.
Oh, yeah.
Call people out on their bullshit, but, they can't hear you.
Yes. There's nothing more entertaining than being able to shit talk while you watch reality TV. And Robin and I have done deep dives on reality TV before. So first, we want to preface, there will be spoilers in this episode. So if you have not watched the first 6 episodes of season 10 of Love is Blind, save this, come back and listen to it later. And if you don't watch Love is Blind, that's okay, because we're not just talking about what happened in the first 6 episodes. We are talking about why women are waiting a little longer to get married these days, because season 10 features the oldest cast in the American history of the show. Because Robin, did you know that there was a European season where they were all over the age of 50?
No?
Yes, it was called Never Too Late. It was in Brazil.
Oh.
I know.
That sounds way better than Golden Bachelor.
I got to add it to the queue. Got to add it. 100% sounds better than Golden Bachelor. So I can't say in the franchise history, but in the American version of the show, this is the oldest cast. And we find it interesting because some of the themes that we saw in the first 6 episodes really lended itself that this actually might be a successful experiment this season, because they really seem to know what they want. They seem to be a lot more grounded in their thought process, and the women just seem to be a lot more mature, I would say, and even some of the men. So today we're not only just going to be talking about some of the juicy gossip of the first 6 episodes, but we're going to examine, like, why are women waiting a little bit longer to get married, why that's not necessarily a bad thing, and how we see that play out in these first 6 episodes.
Yes, this isn't something I knew in advance. I realized it as we were watching it. I was like, wow, like they really jumped up in age between the guys and the girls. And what I love about that personally is because I'm able to relate to it. I did not meet Seth until I was in my mid-30s. I was 33, almost 34.
Yeah.
And Seth and I have talked about, like, would we have dated if we met however many years before, like when we're in completely different places in our lives? Timing is taken into account as well. It's not so much your age, it's like if you're in the same place with the same goals and the same, like, vision for your future. And I think these people have a lot more clarity in that.
Yeah.
Because they have more life experience and they've gone through the dating routine so many more times than someone in their early to mid-20s that have been on the show previously. I will say, I think the people who end up getting married at those younger ages, they think they know everything.
Oh, of course. You can't talk them out of it.
Maybe not everything, just they think they know what they need. They think they know what's best for them. They think they know more than what they actually know. And you don't learn that lesson until you experience more life, which then you did, right?
Then I sure did, yes. So if you're younger, here's a stat that might give you a little bit more knowledge before you go running down the altar. And that is, studies have shown that marrying at a younger age, especially in the teens, which is insane, and early 20s, is associated with a higher likelihood of divorce, often attributed to lower maturity, financial instability, and life goals still forming. And that's by the National Survey of Family Growth.
And with that statistic, the marriage age has steadily increased over the past few decades. And I think, for one, is women's empowerment. Like, we are gaining so much more autonomy and independence We're able to be badass bitches, making our own money, paying for our own stuff. And there was a time when we didn't have those kinds of opportunities. So it makes sense that women got married so much younger.
Yeah. I mean, in my mom's lifetime, she couldn't own a credit card without her husband.
Or have their own bank account. That changed in what, the 80s?
78, I think. So yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Freaking wild.
So there were like many logistical reasons that women were incentivized to, marry young and maybe not even go off and have their own careers. And now there are many factors that lead to women kind of establishing their own independent lives before they look to settle down. And now finding a partner is kind of the cherry on top and not necessarily something that they need to have.
And finding the right partner because they know what they're looking for. They know what they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot easier to spot the men who are actually a very wrong fit. Like we see through that the older we get.
Yeah.
Right. And so I love seeing these slightly older women in here. And we'll get into this, but some of them are able to call these guys out on their BS. And it is so beautiful to see. It just makes me so proud.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that seems like a great transition into the meat and potatoes of Love is Blind this season, which is in Columbus, Ohio, which is insane.
So insane. That's kind of what inspired us to talk about this season. And we want to discuss the contestants and examples of people who know what they want, examples of people who clearly don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So high-level overview of some of the couples. And again, if you're not watching, that's okay. We're just going to give you the highlight reel right here, right now.
Yes.
First up, we got Emma and Mike. Emma is Asian, adopted.
She's the youngest.
She's the youngest. That's right. She's in her late 20s and had several surgeries to remove birthmarks from her body. So she's a little insecure about that. Doesn't want kids. Mike, he says he's okay with not having kids, but yet he won't stop bringing it up.
I actually wrote down in my notes, Mike thinks he's the right man to impregnate Emma. Like, he said that in confessionals. He's like, I think I'm the right man to do this.
Yeah, he's like the guy version of, I can fix her. No, really, I can.
Yeah. Yes. Next, we have Bree, a.k.a. Breezy.
Yeah.
What a cool nickname.
Mm-hmm.
And Connor. So Bree's from Michigan, which I know you love.
I couldn't tell if she's from Michigan or just went to the University of Michigan.
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. I know she went.
Because she definitely sounds like an Ohioan through and through.
Okay.
But yeah, she definitely went to U of M, which is bonus points there. But she also gets them taken away because she kind of acts embarrassing sometimes.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, her and Connor could be best bros, quite frankly.
Yeah, she definitely has that broski banter, right?
Yeah, if you cut a camera to her at a sporting event, she would crush a beer. Like she would pound a beer and crush it on her head.
She does kind of give off that vibe.
She gives, and she's beautiful. She's super cute,
Oh, yeah. I don't mean it in a negative way. Like,
no.
It seems like she's a fun time.
Fun time, super fun time. Not soft. Not soft around the edges.
Yeah.
And next up, we have Brittany and Devontae. Brittany, beautiful, beautiful Latina. I think she said her mom was Latina and her dad was African American.
I think so, yeah.
And Devontae, unclear, but Devontae is not into Brittany, is the big takeaway.
Yeah, we get those vibes. And I'm not so sure Brittany, I think she's trying to convince herself she's into Devontae.
Yeah.
Their reaction at the reveal was not the best.
I was telling Robin, that a couple is not attracted to each other at the reveal when the producers don't play any music as they walk towards each other.
I thought they didn't play music for any of them. Now I have to go back and watch.
You got to watch because they'll have music like leading up to it or at some point. But when they let it just be awkward silence as they approach each other, it's like they want you to feel how uncomfortable they were in the room. And watch that reveal again. And boy, oh boy.
Okay.
It's the longest walk ever. And yeah, there's no attraction and she's fighting for her life.
Yes. And way out of his league, by the way.
She's so out of his league and it makes no sense that he's not attracted to her.
I know. Ugh. Next, we have Ashley and Alex. Ashley is a beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed girly, and Alex is, his title is soccer coach, but I guess he's a retired semi-professional soccer player.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're both very good looking.
Yeah.
And Alex seems very caught up in looks.
Yeah.
He says it early on. I fully expected him to talk about it after the reveal. He does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They did it. They managed to find the hottest people.
Yeah.
They found a way through the walls.
And there was some sexual tension.
So much sexual tension. It bled through. They saw each other. They could not keep their hands off each other. I was blushing.
Or their eyes.
I texted Robin. I was like, I am blushing watching these two.
Yeah.
They couldn't keep their hands off each other. So on its head, it looks like, okay, boom, bam, pow. They did it. They found a connection, emotionally, and the physical connection is off the charts, but we'll talk about it later. Not everything is as it appears. Next, we have Chris and Jess. A real curveball here with those two. I had no idea where this couple came from. Jess says that she cannot see Chris ever hurting her, which is the dumbest thing a woman can ever say about a man ever, in my opinion.
Let alone a man you've known for a week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just met in person.
Yeah. Chris is a walking LinkedIn post, if you ask me. He just...
Yes. He even looks like a walking headshot.
Yes, that's exactly it. He's super put together. He's going to challenge you. He cold plunges every day. And as a former cold plunger, I get it. You want to spread the word. But, he's just like a motivational speaker, I don't know, in a human form.
Motivational speaker in bullshit.
Yeah. 100%.
Next, we have Jordan and Amber, which my first impression from when they did the reveal is they oddly make sense. And so I'm really curious to see where things go with them. The least weirdness vibes is coming off of them.
They do, and they don't. I really couldn't tell if she was attracted to him.
I think it's the Botox.
That is very true. Amber definitely doesn't hold back when it comes to a little maintenance, let's just say.
You're still beautiful.
She's beautiful. Absolutely. Do you, girly, but those boobs are definitely not real. And I think she would admit to that right here, right now.
Yeah.
She has a 7-year-old daughter. She's been very open about that. Jordan, he said his deal breaker were kids.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out.
That is the one red flag. I forgot about that part.
That is the one red flag. Mm-hmm. He said he would not date someone that had kids. And then he met Amber, and now he's reevaluating whether he can be a stepdad. But I couldn't tell if she thought he was attractive, and then they seem pretty in tune with each other.
She was shaving his back day one.
She shaved his back hair day one. You got to do what you got to do.
I will say this pattern is very familiar to me. It's you have your deal breakers until you meet someone.
Mm-hmm.
You think they meet enough that you're willing to make compromises on some of them. And this is a really big one.
Yeah.
So for someone to go in with that mentality, they don't want to date someone with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then be I think I could be okay with this. That's a huge mental shift. And I don't think this guy really thought that through.
For sure. And it will be interesting because even someone with kids, it is challenging to be in a relationship with somebody else that has kids.
Yeah.
That alone is a learning curve of just blending and trying to understand your place with that other child. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yep.
And then last, kind of least, because they didn't get to go to Cabo, is Christine and Vic. Now, this was the first couple to be shown getting engaged. I've later learned that they actually all get engaged on the same day.
Yeah, you can tell when you like see their outfits from different like scenes and stuff.
Yeah. So even though it seems like they're like, okay, I'm ready, they actually all get engaged on the same day. But Christine and Vic, super cute couple, I think. I could listen to Vic read the phone book. I mean, what an attractive voice he has.
A very calm demeanor. Both of them, actually.
Very calm. Yeah, they both have been through it. They both have had a lot of difficult and challenging life experiences. So is it trauma bonding? I don't know. We'll find out. But either way, they did not have enough room for them in Cabo. So they had their own fun time in Malibu.
And we haven't gotten to see much.
No.
We get these clips every now and again where they're like, we're just having a great time, which love that. Love that for them.
Love that for them.
But we just don't know much right now.
No, we sure don't.
So that's everybody. That's the 7 couples currently. So there were some connections that didn't make it to the engagement stage. And we wanted to focus on one of those. Kevin was the man between Kia and Tyler, 2 badass women who really taught Kevin some life lessons.
Boy, did they.
I would say.
Yeah. And I think this is just a great example of many in the season of strong women who know exactly what they want and what they are worth. Because I think in earlier seasons, and we've seen this play out really on any reality show where you have women in their younger 20s, these insecurities can make women spiral so quickly. Like, even how many times in The Bachelor have you seen, like, when a girl knows another girl's date went really well and they just start crying and spiraling. And they're like, what's wrong with me? I need some time with him. I need to see him. I need to know what's going on. And like, they just get in their head. And it was definitely hard for Kia and Tyler to know deep down that they were both dating the same guy, but they really like didn't take it out on one another. They still supported and spoke really highly of each other, like through that process.
Yes.
And even at one point, Tyler was going to leave the second that Kevin was like, I have kind of a strong connection with someone else. She was like, you know what? Say no more. I'm not going to sit through another speech of someone telling me how great of a person I am just to tell me I'm not the one. I already know I'm great.
Which is so relatable.
So relatable. I've been in that situation. I once had a guy, while he was breaking up with me, start listing traits of the person he would rather be with. And I was like, I'm going to stop you right there. I don't care the kind of person that you would rather be with. Do you want me to help you find her? I don't care that that is the type of woman that you're looking for. It ain't me. And that's all you got to say. Like, we're done. What are you doing?
Yeah, and Kevin has clearly never had 2 women fight over him in his life.
No, this is so new to him.
And I just it felt kismet. Like these 2 beautiful, successful, intelligent women who know their worth, showing him, how do I say this? Like how not ready for marriage he is.
Oh, yeah.
And how he has a very long way to go to figuring out what he wants. He said he knew what he wants, but his voice, the way he talks, how slowly he talks, and the way his voice kind of fades off at the end, like it's not convincing. Nothing he says is convincing. Especially when you're not face to face with someone and you only have their voice to go off of. I wouldn't want to date someone like that who lacks any sort of confidence.
Yeah, or someone who's going to like just take the reins when you need them to take the reins.
Yeah, he does not seem like that kind of guy.
No, and when you're looking to find a lifelong partner, you are looking for someone who's going to be there for you in your hardest moments, like when your parents die, okay?
Yeah.
Then when that happens, you don't want a man who says, well, what do you want me to do? You don't want a man that's like, well, I didn't know, like, what am I supposed to? What was I? You want someone who knows exactly who to call, exactly what food to get you, exactly when you need to be alone, like can just get shit going. And so he is 100% not ready to be that kind of person and that kind of provider.
Oh. And Kia was the gorgeous being who, I mean, it was so perfectly said.
Yeah.
The way she just threw it down, so direct, straightforward, and didn't make it a longer conversation than it needed to be. She's just like, get your shit together. And I mean that in the best way. And then she left.
She read him so well.
To filth.
She was like, you are not ready to get married. You probably shouldn't have come here. I know what I'm worth. You did my girl Tyler really dirty. And I deserve better than this. She deserved better than this.
She deserved more.
She read him so well that at the end of all that, he was like, 100% thank you.
Yeah.
Like he thanked her.
Yes, he thanked her. And that is what, oh my God, it was a masterpiece.
Masterclass, a masterclass. And she was right. And he knew it. So another person who I feel like is growing into her empowerment, and I would love to see more of this, is Emma.
Yes.
Who is starting to express that she doesn't want kids. And it's not really something that has ever really deeply resonated with her. And for one of those connections, I think Connor, that was kind of maybe the point where it became a deal breaker for him because he really couldn't see his life with kids. And for her connection, Mike, initially he was like, I love that. I love that you know that you don't want kids. Like, that's totally fine with me. And then as they were getting more serious, he was like, but maybe though. But like, maybe think about, like, could you just maybe imagine?
And he was playing like a therapist.
Yeah.
Explaining to her about how working through some of her trauma could help her realize that she actually could be a good mother. Like, I can't remember how he phrased it exactly, but don't therapize me.
Yes. Yes.
You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. I'm telling you part of my life experience. That doesn't mean you understand what I've experienced.
No, because she was like, I would never want a kid to go through what I have been through. And just so you guys know, Emma, like I mentioned, is the one that had to have over 10 surgeries to remove birthmarks that could have led to melanoma. In fact, she has to get them checked every year. Like, she's still kind of like not in the clear.
Yeah.
So I think genetically, she wouldn't want to pass that down. And he's
like, we'll get genetic testing. It's fine.
We'll get genetic testing and like, you will use those experiences to be even more caring as a mother. It's like, you know what? It's not that simple. Well, what I really also liked about this season, which sometimes we see in others, but I really liked in this one, is just like the women supporting women aspect of it. And this was like the first time we really saw behind the scenes a little bit of like, they were kind of playing matchmaker in the pods a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
They were like, oh, I think you would get along with this person. Like,
yeah.
And maybe they were doing that and we've just never really seen it aired before, but there were like conversations going on of someone being like, I knew you would be a good fit for this person. Like, I could just tell by your vibes that like you guys were going to be a good match. Or even one of them saying, I'm not the right fit for you, but like there's another girl that I know that you are absolutely meant to be with, and like normally in these kind of situations, especially on reality TV, it's such a competitive environment with each other. But I think because these women know, like, no, I'm here to find my person. So I'm not going to like get in the way of these other people and let my ego get in the way. I'm going to actually help these other people find their partner as well.
When they understand nothing is out of spite or competition. Like, going into this, these women didn't know each other. They're all just looking for love.
Yeah.
And part of the experiment is that you're all dating the same people. Like, it's for the most part, it's understood. And yeah, as the seasons go on, you see it become more and more of Girl Squad. Like, they all become like genuine friends and build new relationships with each other. And I just really enjoy seeing the way that these women are like, we're friends in this room. we're looking for love in this room.
Mm-hmm.
They remove the in-between.
Yeah. Yes. No, you're totally right. Yeah, they're able to separate those two things and not have them compete against each other. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, and I feel like once it does get out of the pods, you kind of see those friendships really take hold. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about this drama later, but there's a very interesting interaction with Alex, hot Alex, and Brittany, who is this beautiful Latino woman, where he's definitely hitting on her. He's definitely putting it out there that she is his type. She's normally the type of girl.
And he was doing it in a really weird, creepy way.
Super manipulative, creepy way.
He wasn't being direct.
Oh, I felt like he was being very direct.
He was using a lot of words to kind of make it like, you're attracted to who you're attracted to, and like making it it's not all my fault. And that's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. He was like watering down. It's like he was just laying the cards on the table one by one at a time of like, just really trying to softly land the plane of like, and so in conclusion, I would like to have sex with you instead.
What surprised me is that he went into that not thinking about whether or not Brittany was going to tell Ashley.
Yeah. Yes.
And I wonder if he went into that conversation with the mindset of like, I get the women that I want. I'm used to it because I'm so attractive,
Right. Yeah. So for context at this point in the trip, Brittany is complaining that 𝗵𝗵𝐷𝗀 is like not giving her any physical attention, that she's the one pawing at him, that like he is just not giving her the physical validation. Alex overhears this conversation and later admits on the camera that like Brittany is actually his physical type, that Ashley is not normally the physique that he goes for, even though she's beautiful, she's skinny, she's blonde, blue eyes. He normally goes for...
He likes the darker complexion, dark hair.
Thick women, which was a real surprise to me. I did not peg him for that type. And so he overhears this, and you're right, he immediately assumes, oh, if she knows I'm attracted to her, then boom, here we go. I'm going to do a 1-2 switcheroo. No harm, no foul. We're early enough that I'm going to be able to pull this off.
Which brings us to the question, are these men really ready to get married? Like the women are way more ready.
Right.
And like you're in your mid-30s, most women are ready. And there's an age gap where men need to be older than us to be where we are mentally and emotionally. And so these guys being the same age as the women.
Yes.
And of course, this isn't everyone, right? But it's like a general thing that we're all loosely aware of.
No, I think what it is, here's what it comes down to. I think that when men finally get to the point where they're like, I'm ready to get married, and they are attractive and they're successful, it's almost like they feel entitled to be like, okay, I'm ready. I don't have to do much now because I have all the things. So come here,
Time to spread my seed.
Exactly. And so I think for many of them, it's like it is enough just to have these basic things, and it is enough just to check certain boxes that are kind of surface level. And you can tell by some of these talking points. Like, I know we kind of went on a runner about Kevin, but he was just saying a whole lot about a whole lot of nothing.
It was mind-boggling sitting there witnessing. And I'm just like wondering what he said to keep these women in the room in the first place. But I digress.
I know.
I touched on this a few minutes ago. Voice attractiveness. It's absolutely a thing, whether you're aware of it or not.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about someone's voice, like Kevin, right? You hear the insecurity and lack of sureness in his voice. And then you hear someone like Vic talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, he has a really like sensual, sexy voice.
Yeah.
It's calm, it's collected. Anyone is going to be drawn to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he could be like a crisis hotline counselor. You know, he could talk you off a ledge. He has a voice where it's like, you just feel like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think there's another part of attraction that this show fails to examine or is a reason why these couples don't necessarily work, other than the fact that it's a reality show and this all is done in like 3 weeks, right? So obviously, huge reason there. But beyond just looks and beyond a, emotional connection, there are like physical mannerisms that are attractive. Do you know what I mean?
And physical mannerisms that are unattractive.
There are physical mannerisms. Yes, there are icky ones too. And so not being able to engage with that is very key critical, especially in the early stages of getting to know somebody, you know?
Yeah. Did you see when they were in the hotels, it was Bree and Connor, and he was trying to cross his legs and he couldn't cross his legs because his hips were that fucking tight. And she goes, it's an ick I didn't know I had. And I was right there with her. I was like, you can't cross your fucking legs.
Yeah.
Do you just sit all day, every day? What happened?
Right. And, there's the icks that are unlocked, but there's also ways that somebody can become attractive or somebody has a swagger about them, just exudes through somebody who you may not have been traditionally attracted to. You can't always just be like, I'm in love with you through a wall, and now I have to find those moments. You can't always like back into that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, part of Love is Blind, its existence. Like, it's a reality TV show. There has to be drama.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be shit stirred. But 9 days is such a short amount of time. Like, I was high last night watching it, and I was really trying to put myself in the mindset of being in one of those pods. And I was like, in no way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter how connected I feel to someone on that other wall. What I say, let's get married in 3 weeks. It blows my mind.
I know.
And that some people have been successful from that experiment.
I know.
Is amazing. But myself, personally, there's no way. It's not enough time. It's not enough time.
I know. Insane.
But that also got me thinking. And, there are hours and hours of filming that we don't see as the viewer.
Yeah.
And so we don't know if these questions are actually being asked. But what I realized is that these very important questions, very life-defining questions, were not being asked or discussed. Everything felt way more surface level.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made a list of some of the questions that we think Love is Blind couples should be asking each other when trying to find the perfect partner.
And you guys can use these in your dating lives before you decide to get engaged too, because some of these you might think you know about the person you're dating, but like, have you really asked them? So here you go.
Exactly.
Okay, the first one. How do you handle conflict when you're upset?
I think women are way better at answering this question.
Mm-hmm.
I have oftentimes gotten the generic response of like, I just don't like drama. That's not handling conflict.
Right.
Conflict will arise whether you like drama or not.
Right.
You can't avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone gives you that answer, that I would say is a red flag.
Right.
Because it is an avoidance tactic.
Right. Well, that is actually an answer then.
Yeah.
I don't like drama means, okay, so you walk away.
Yes.
Got it. Cool.
You have no solutions. You have nothing to add to this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Of a very simple question.
And you can challenge him on that.
I could tell you how I handle conflict.
Right, exactly. And so like if someone does say that, like, oh, I don't do drama, I don't really like when things are dramatic, like, okay, so does that mean that you disengage? Does that mean you walk away? Does that mean you wait for somebody else to solve the problem for you?
Precisely.
Check them on it.
Check them. And you'll learn a lot about their communication style as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next question that we recommend you ask is, what does feeling supported look like to you in a relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think a lot of people just give the other person what feels good to them.
Yeah.
And they don't check in to be like, oh, does that work for you? You know?
Yeah. I think this is a great opportunity to talk about love languages, because I did notice in one of the episodes when Brittany was speaking to 𝗔𝗵𝐵𝘀 about his lack of physical affection. And she told him, she's like, I told you my love language is physical touch. So when you're not touching me, I feel like something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, no, nothing's wrong. It's so not believable.
Right. Yeah.
And even if it was true that nothing was wrong, then he should be making an effort to give her that love language.
Yeah. Or he should have said, I'm not cuddly. And then I would have been like, oh.
Which he kind of did say, because he gets hot. He says he gets hot a lot. But like, she's telling you what she needs to feel loved and supported. That might be a small compromise that you have to make. You got to have sex. There's touching involved. Okay?
Right. You get to have sex.
Yeah. I mean, that's just one aspect of it. Feeling supported is a much larger topic, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, what kind of support? Support in the workplace, support through the loss of a loved one, support through financial problems. Like, there's so many things. And so I think it's a very important question to have, because it's inevitable.
And even support through good times.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. You're so right.
How do you want to be celebrated? Right? Because they might not want any attention at all.
True. Very true.
So you got to figure that out. All right. The next one is, what are you most afraid of in marriage?
Seth and I actually had this conversation several years ago. On dates, we would like ask each other different questions. So we were able to cover a lot of ground. It was perfect for like our date nights. But one of them was, what is your biggest fear? And his answer at the time was divorce. So you're right. It can be difficult to answer. But when people have answers like that, it can reveal people's baggage and expectations. Like Seth's expectation was, I'll probably get divorced, and so maybe I shouldn't get married or have kids.
Yeah.
Or people like me who grew up in a family of divorce. My parents got divorced when I was 7. And for the longest time, I avoided fighting. I didn't like fighting. I didn't like yelling. And so for me, like, I was afraid of marriage on multiple levels because of my childhood trauma. It's very extensive, whether you've experienced it or not.
Yeah. And it can manifest in different ways, I think, for a lot of people, whether it's divorce, abandonment, dying, right? Some people have a fear that the other person's going to die.
That's mine.
Yeah. I mean, so there's things that might feel like, okay, well, that's just an irrational fear. But it's like, well, that could manifest itself in some other unhealthy ways. So just trying to understand maybe what are the blockers that might prevent you from that deeper commitment is definitely a conversation you want to have.
Next question is, what does a normal weekday look like to you? And this is a huge reveal on your lifestyle compatibility. In previous seasons, we have seen that play out. Last season, Jordan and Megan. Jordan had a kid and he worked crazy hours. His job was very demanding. He was exhausted. Megan had more financial freedom. She wanted to travel and go out all the time, go to dinner, and they could not align.
No, there's so many of these couples and I'm like, man, did you guys even talk about this at all?
Right?
At all. How did you think this was going to work? Schedule wise, just even the people who are like, one is so messy, and the other person's like, I'm a total neat freak. I understand that like you catch feelings and you're like, I can overcome it. But man, like those little things might drive you crazy,
Mm-hmm.
Or even like, what do you expect to do after work? If someone's like, oh my God, I love hanging out with my friends. We go out probably like, I go to happy hour like every other night. And then I normally go to a networking event. And the other person is like a homebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like that can really create some conflicts, or you might end up on a route where like you are living separate lives.
Yep.
Those relationships didn't work out either. So you got to have that lifestyle compatibility for sure.
Yes.
All right. This next one is, how do you expect your life to change after marriage? Because it will, and it should.
Yeah. And it will show you whether this person sees marriage as a partnership or a personality trait, checking it off the list kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like, how are we going to continue to grow? And if someone is like, it's going to be the same. It's basically like just you and me, It's like, I would ask, well, then why are we doing it?
Yeah.
Why are we doing it then? If it's just going to be the same, like, I want to know that we're getting married because we want to elevate this relationship and be more ingrained or more moving towards a deeper partnership, not because we're going to keep things exactly the same,
I think the way you worded that is perfect because I remember watching a conversation between Chris and Bree when they were in the pods. They didn't end up together, and they were talking about what life would look like together. And Chris is like, I'm going to set your goals. I'm going to make sure you accomplish them. I'm going to be challenging you every day. And I kind of went off on a tangent to Jackie. I was like, first of all, do not challenge me every fucking day.
Every day?
I was like, you might get one day a month, one thing.
Yeah.
And Jackie was like, 0 days. Do not challenge me. I just thought the way he phrased that was like, you need me to succeed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
As if she can't do it on her own. And it just gave me the biggest ick. And it had nothing to do about how they would have a successful marriage together. Like, what does achieving goals have to do with your emotional partnership?
Mm-hmm. It's giving fixer 100%.
Yeah. Not even fixer of like, you're going to be the way I want you to be.
Right. Exactly. I'm going to whip you into shape. I don't like that.
No. It's like, what the fuck do you know, you little 32-year-old rat? Sorry. Okay, the last question we think couples on Love is Blind should be asking each other is, how do you handle money when you are stressed or scared? And this will reveal how one responds in difficult financial situations.
Huge.
Our current political financial climate in the States is very volatile and nobody knows what's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to be on the same page about this.
Yes. Financially, I think both people need to lay it all on the line. All on the line.
Absolutely. Tell me about all your debt,
Mm-hmm.
how it happened.
Yes, this is like controversial. Some people have a very adverse reaction when I say this, but before I got married, my ex made me do a full credit report and share it with him before he would propose. Now, this ended up being a saving grace because there was a payment that had gone to default that I did not know had gone to collections, and it would have prevented me from getting into grad school at the time. So had I not done that, I would have not been able to get into grad school. So it was a saving grace. And I also needed to do something, which was my reaction to financial situations. And that was hide from him. I was the person that was like, oh, credit card statement, I'm just going to deal with that later. Like, I was the put my head in the sand financial person.
Yeah.
And he knew that about me. And he was like, I'm not going to do this if that is how you respond to this. This is also kind of a business partnership because we are blending these accounts together. So
it's true.
Let's start from scratch. And I very much credit him with building up my credit score and like paying off my debts, and 100% credit him for that behavioral change. But yeah, people have that exact reaction that you have when I tell them that.
It's a little extreme, but the way you explained it makes sense. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very, very important question. Yeah.
But you got to know. You got to know.
You got to know.
You got to get under the hood.
It tells you a lot about someone.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have debt. You're allowed to have made mistakes. It's how you've recovered and what you're doing to better the situation. And that's what I would be looking for personally.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we spent this episode talking about delayed marriage as a choice, just how it's trending in general as we move into a new era of women's empowerment.
Yeah. Beyond Love is Blind, and through some of the rich examples we've seen with this new cast of characters, there are a lot of benefits to waiting until you're in your 30s. And here are just some key ones that you might want to keep in mind.
And I think it ties into like the questions that we're discussing that's so important to ask someone that you're looking to potentially marry. And that is having more self-awareness, which means better sense of identity, your values, and your boundaries.
Get familiar with that frontal lobe cortex,
Exactly.
Give it some time. Give it some time for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, a second one, and probably maybe the biggest driver for people waiting is just financial independence. Like, who here has their shit together in their 20s anymore? Like, it's so hard to have time to build your career, to get your savings, your life stability, to be able to make a big commitment like getting married when like people are like still living with their parents in their mid-20s these days. I mean, that's half of it, but just giving yourself a little bit more runway to have your own little nest egg before, hitching your wagon to somebody else, I think is a huge benefit.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can speak for most women these days when like we don't want financial reliance on someone else.
Right.
Because you get stuck. If you realize you can't be with this person anymore, but you don't have a job anymore, you're the stay-at-home mom, you don't have your own income, like those are the women who feel stuck. And we don't want that for you. In general, women have higher emotional maturity.
Sorry.
And it's why I think, are drawn to slightly older men, is because it just takes them longer to get there, right? So be able to call a guy out on that.
Yeah.
See how they handle conflict. See how they may or may not be doing work to grow as a person, as a partner.
Yeah. And I think with that, you just have greater clarity on what you want in a partner. If you're waiting until you're 30, hopefully you've been in a few serious relationships and you've had time to explore what works for you, what doesn't. You know how to establish boundaries. You know how to resolve conflict, how to walk away. And that is just going to give you a lot more clarity as to what the right type of partner is for you.
Exactly. Here's another thing that we gain as we get older, and that is better communication skills. I will say the younger generations are so much more emotionally available, emotionally intelligent than the generations before us. And it's because they have millennials as parents. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, the older you get, the better at communication you are. The better you're able to communicate your wants and needs. It's not just about how you manage conflict. It's about owning your shit.
Yeah, most definitely. And finally, and our favorite thing to talk about on this podcast is your community of friends. You have a stronger support system by then. You have more people, well, maybe not even more people, but the closest people around you.
Yeah.
To guide you in the right direction, to be there for you when you fall, to help gut check you, right? You're not just around just people to people. And you're not just getting married because the wedding sounds fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I never thought about marriage, like a wedding, before I was engaged. I didn't think about my ring, nothing.
I did.
I kept my expectations low.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like a lot of girls in their mid-20s is like you just get a wave of weddings and all you're thinking about is at my wedding, at my wedding, at my wedding. And it's like you're not thinking about the marriage. you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, once you have a real support system around you, of people who are focusing on like things that matter, you hopefully are making it for the right decision.
All that to say, there is no perfect age for love, for marriage. There's only the right timing for you. You decide that. We're not here to tell you whether it's your 30s, 20s, 40s, 50s. It doesn't matter. You can never get married. We're just trying to say, if you're gonna get married, here are things that should be considered, especially in the lens of Love is Blind, where these people are tying the knot in less than a month.
Mm-hmm. And like the late, great Aaliyah once said, age ain't nothing but a number. But 30 is a great age.
I really enjoyed 34. That was a good year for me.
That was when I got separated. I think. That sounds about right. 34, 35?
No, because I was 34 when I met Seth.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you were 34, when I was 34.
Oh, I thought you meant when I was 34, you got separated. I was like,
Oh, no.
Got it. It's time for a class act of the week. This is where we choose someone, something, a business, a cause who is making the world a better place one day at a time. And this week, it is Deborah's turn. What do you got?
Well, the Winter Olympics are happening right now, which I don't normally watch. I kind of just like catch here and there. But I saw this story that really warmed my heart for several reasons that just really aligned with the classy commandments.
Aw.
My class act of the week is Regina Martinez Lorenzo, and she is the first Mexican cross-country skier Olympian.
Oh, wow.
So she actually goes to med school in, I think, Minnesota, but she was born in Mexico, so she is on the Mexican team. And she like raised money, fundraised. I think she was like a dog walker to like raise enough money to be able to afford like everything it costs to be able to go to the Olympics.
Oh, my God.
She worked really hard for this goal, but she didn't win. In fact, she was the 108th woman to finish. I think would put her in last place, the 10-kilometer freestyle. And she finished with the time of 34 minutes, 5.4 seconds. She was more than 11 minutes behind the winner, who was from Sweden. Her name was Frida Karlsson. I think I'm pronouncing that with
Where
the
there's
right.
just snow all the time.
Just snow everywhere, right? So you got to think of the uphill battle of like, well, now mind you, Regina lives in Minnesota, obviously, but like just to be a Mexican cross-country skier, right?
Yeah.
Now, she said a friend had told her, the faster you go, the faster you'll become an Olympian, which I just love that so much. All she wanted to do was become an Olympian so she could like bring that title back to her country. But the best part, Robin, you're going to die when you see this. All of her female friend skiers were waiting for her at the finish line. They were all waiting.
Oh, my God. Girl power.
Girl power. I think like her friend from Brazil was there.
Ugh.
The USA was there. Like just like 5 or 6 women were waiting for her at the finish line just to congratulate her for this historic feat of being the first Olympian to represent Mexico in cross-country skiing. And she never gave up. And she said that the one thing that helped her succeed is by focusing on getting 1% better every day. And she just didn't give up. And so even if you're last place in the Olympics, you're still in the Olympics. And I just love that so much because she just wore it with so much pride. No part of her looked defeated.
Mm.
And, she's going to go home and is just going to be known as the first Mexican cross-country Olympian.
That's amazing.
And I just think that's so classy and classy for all of her friends to be waiting for her at the finish line.
Yes. Aw.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay.
Way to go, Regina.
Regina.
Beautiful. Okay, moving on to class or crass. We give a fake scenario and discuss whether it could have been handled in a more classy way or if it's just crass all around. You RSVP to a wedding months in advance. The day finally comes and you are completely burned out. You go to the ceremony and cocktail hour, but you leave before the plated dinner because you don't have it in you to stay all night. Is that classy because you showed up? or crass because the dinner is the most expensive part of your RSVP?
I have seen people do this at weddings, and I don't think it's classy to leave before the plated dinner. I'm sorry.
If you say you're going to eat, you sit down and you eat.
The RSVP is for the dinner, in my opinion.
Yeah, say you're not going to be there.
Right.
Like, you don't get to just decide the day of. Like, that's just a shitty friend move.
Yeah. Like, and at that point, obviously, there's nothing that they can do, right? I mean,
yeah,
the day of, like, you've waited too long, but so what? You're burnt out. You can't sit through a meal.
Yeah.
You can't sit through one meal. You can't have some mashed potatoes and some chicken with some cream sauce on it. I mean, come on.
Maybe you just need to eat a little and you'll get your
groove back.
No, the second wind. Get on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. No one's asking you to go hard.
It's party time. This is a celebration.
It's a celebration of love, you know? So I personally, I don't know which way to cut it. I mean, I get it. You're like, at least I showed up, maybe. But let's face it. Everyone knows that there is a per person cost for a plated dinner at a wedding.
Yeah.
And that's usually north of $150. So to not stick around for that part is just crass, in my opinion.
I do wonder who would still consider this classy, because we do try to make these scenarios controversial. And this one, like, the kind of person that would be like, it's classy because I just showed up. Just, I don't want that friend to be there in the first place.
Okay, here's where I would say you get a little grace, is if I would change this scenario to be like, if it's a buffet and you RSVP'd and you don't stick around for the buffet, but you showed up even if you weren't feeling good.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of class, okay?
Yeah, if you're not feeling good, it just says here, completely burned out. What does that mean?
I know.
What does burned out mean? Like, you knew this wedding was coming.
I mean, we always give people room for their own boundaries, right? We never want someone to exceed their own boundaries. I get it. But I mean, the plated dinner part, to me, sometimes you just got to show up for people.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Here's what I think. It's classy in the sense that you went and talked to the bride and groom.
Yeah.
Had a discussion, told them why you need to leave.
Yeah.
Apologize. I think they deserve an apology. Like, maybe you don't have to offer to pay for your plate, but they're owed a conversation. And that can make the biggest difference. Like, maybe they would say, look, no, that totally understand. Take care of yourself. We're so glad you made it out regardless. I think that's how you keep it classy.
You keep it classy with a conversation and a fat check.
Me personally, I would offer to pay for my plate.
100%. You better double up whatever you wrote on that check in that wedding card. You better double it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's my wedding gift. It's my plate and then some.
Exactly. There you go.
There you have it. Declared.
Well,
that's a wrap. So this season of Love is Blind reminded us that waiting until your 30s isn't about being picky. It's about being ready. Knowing yourself, your boundaries, and what you actually want makes all the difference.
Whether you're in a pod, at a wedding, or just navigating life in your 30s, taking your time isn't a delay, it's a power move. And maybe age makes love a little less blind.
Are you watching Love is Blind? Who do you think will make it to the altar? Send us your predictions or spoilers at artofclassiness@gmail.com or send us a DM on Instagram or TikTok at Art of Classiness.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. And remember, classy is a state of mind.
So mind your classiness.
Bye.